Hey guys, Timmy here from Link Building HQ. Welcome back to our video series SEO for Beginners. In today's video, we'll be talking about crawling, indexing, and ranking. And by the end of this video, you'd have learned how search engines work. Now, I know we briefly touched upon crawling, indexing, and ranking in our last video, but we'll be going into more detail into this one. So let's get started. To deliver relevant results to its users, search engines need to do three things. Number one, they need to find the information that's out there, the pages they're going to ultimately display. That discovery is called crawling. Number two, they need to store that information in their database or index. That's called indexing. And number three, depending on what you search for, search engines need to show you the results in a certain order. That order is called ranking. Let's talk about crawling in more detail. Google has little programs called GoogleBots. We also call them spiders or crawlers. GoogleBots initially fetch only a few web pages, but then follow the links on those pages and find new pages. That's why backlinks are so important for a website. It's how crawlers discover new pages. By moving from one page to another, discovering new links and crawling those, GoogleBots are able to discover billions of web pages on the internet and add them to Google's database. As a webmaster or a website owner, you should add a Robots.txt file in the root directory of your website. A Robots.txt file gives directives to crawlers about which parts of your website they should and shouldn't crawl or index. You probably don't want Google to crawl and index your staging or test pages, for example. So it's a good idea to have them disallowed. You can learn more about Robots.txt in our blog. The link's in the description below. To see how many pages have been crawled by Google, you can check the crawl stats report in your Google Search Console. It gives you stats about Googlebot's activity on your site for the last 90 days. You can also make use of Google Search Console's index coverage report to know if crawlers are encountering any errors while crawling your website. You should also be mindful of Google's crawl budget. The crawl budget refers to the average number of URLs Googlebots will crawl on your site before leaving. So if you have tens of thousands of URLs, then you should optimize your Robots.txt to ensure Google isn't crawling unimportant or junk pages. Having a sitemap also helps Googlebots make sense of your site architecture and understand which pages you think are more important. All right, let's move on to indexing. While crawling is the discovery of pages, indexing handles the storing of the discovered pages in Google's database, or index. Think of it as a huge digital library with all the pages that Googlebots have discovered. If you want to see how many of your web pages have currently been indexed, just use this search operator, citeyourdomain.com, such as site linkbuildinghq.com in the search bar. If the results return with nothing to show for, there could be a few reasons. These can include a code in your website blocking the search engine to crawl, a problematic site navigation, a penalty by Google for non-compliance, or your site could be relatively new and still undiscovered and has no external links. Now, if you want, you can actually tell Google to crawl but not index certain pages using specific instructions in your Robots.txt file. So if you don't want to index certain pages, use a no index tag. For e-commerce sites, a no archive tag is handy to remove pages with outdated pricing. You can also make use of xrobots tag to exclude specific folders or file types from being indexed. Done with getting your website crawled and indexed? Let's move on to ranking. Google uses hundreds of mini algorithms or ranking factors to assess where and when to show your page in its search results. These mini algorithms add up to form what we call Google's ranking algorithm. Now, there have been several updates in Google's algorithms over the years, some minor, some major, all aimed at making the user experience as smooth and convenient as possible. How does Google figure out how to rank results? Well, the first thing it does is it tries to understand the search intent. Now, broadly speaking, there are three search types: Navigational queries, where the searcher is looking for a particular website or web page. Example, Apple website or apple.com. Informational queries, where the searcher wants the answer to a question or learn how to do something. Example, iPhone SE review. Transactional queries, where the searcher is considering making a purchase. Example, buy iPhone SE. Depending on your query, your location, search history, and other metrics, Google displays what it thinks are the most relevant search results for you. That's where the ranking factors come into play. While there are over 200 ranking factors, you need to know at least the following to make sure you're putting your best foot forward when it comes to ranking. The first one's the relevance of your content. This ties into the relevance of your keywords. Is your content relevant to the searcher's queries? What keywords will they be using if you want them to click on your page? If you want to know more about how to find and use the right keywords for your website, stick around for our next video on keyword research. Content quality. Quality content helps you stand out from the competition. Make sure you're providing original or well-researched content that helps satisfy the user's search query. Quality backlinks. Hey, backlinks are one of the most important ranking factors in Google's algorithm. They act like votes from one site to another. You should try to earn links from high-authority websites, as that signals to Google that your content is trusted by websites that are in turn trusted by Google and seen as authoritative. Social signals. If you're generating buzz for your brand, website, or content on social media, that's a good sign. If your article's being shared on Facebook or LinkedIn, or if you're being mentioned on Twitter and Instagram or other platforms, you're earning citations and links for your brand, which again sends positive signals to Google. Mobile-friendly websites. Google is moving towards mobile-first indexing, which means your website's mobile version is now even more important than your desktop version. We wrote a whole article on mobile-first indexing. You can check that out in the description below. Technical on-page SEO. On-page optimization is critical when it comes to SEO. In fact, we'll cover this in more detail in our on-page SEO video, which will cover having the right meta tags and headings, making sure your page can be crawled and indexed if you want it to rank, make it easier for search crawlers to understand your page, having a fast load time, using alt text for images, internal linking, having a secure site, deploying schema markup, and more. Of course, this isn't an exhaustive list of all Google's ranking factors, but it's a good jumping off point. It gives you an idea of what Google is looking for when it's ranking different websites. So that brings us to the end of this video. In the next one, we'll be covering keyword research and show you exactly how we conduct keyword research here at Link Building HQ. See you there.